Hello, I'm Ana Maria Davalos from Icani Global again. Today I want to talk about the ego. One of the best definitions of the ego is the one Richard Gordon from Quantum Healing uses all the time. Ego is the awareness of the outside and inner world. There is a healthy ego, which is just being aware without judgment of what's happening around. For example, somebody you know spills the wine. The healthy ego says, oh, somebody spilled the wine. Let's help with the cleaning. But the negative ego comes in and thinks, oh my, I knew he spilled the wine. He's always so clumsy. Everything he does is the same way. I've seen him before. Now that I think of it, maybe he did it on purpose. Let's stop and analyze. Two mindsets, completely different, the same action, but a completely different filter of perception of what happened. In other words, negative ego has judgment, which leads to assume what happened. The negative ego has two components, self-pity, that would be the victim, and self-importance. The mindset goes from less than to better than the other person. The negative ego assumes and creates all these stories in their minds. That is one of the reasons we hear that ego comes from fear. As human beings, we all have it, some of us more than the rest. It's interesting how those big egos tend to avoid mentioning team and teamwork. Instead, they use I, me, and mine. I did it. I was me, the one that created. Which is why it's good practice to emphasize group efforts and not individual victories. If you're the boss and realize you are talking with the I did it, why don't you try congratulating the team as a whole and celebrating successes rather than calling out individuals on their contributions? This is a great way to take down big egos a notch or two. It's a powerful and humble reminder that everyone's efforts are vital to success of the project, company, or overall success of the workplace. A common trap we can fall into, especially when we feel underappreciated, is thinking, what would this place do without me? Or what would my partner do without me? Yes, that it also comes from an inflated ego. You know what? It comes from fear, self-pity, and goes from one side to the pendulum to the other one. So we try to inflate ourselves. Sometimes it's easy to get into that mindset and have just our ego inflated as a side effect. If you find yourself getting into this mood, think instead, what would happen to this place without everyone else? Negative ego, on the other hand, is often described as having a strong personality. Have you ever heard someone say they couldn't work together because they both have strong personalities? What does that really mean? Well, that is wrong. There is a distinction between ego and personality. They're not the same thing. A person can be charming, attractive, nurturing, kind, generous. These are all personality traits. They are traits that a person displays outwardly. Ego, however, is the part that is hidden underneath or the inner persona. Dealing with big egos can feel like the end of the world, especially when you're unsure of how to tackle the problem. The best strategy is to address it before it actually does become unbearable. It might feel uncomfortable, but your future self will thank you. Remember, there's nothing wrong with having boundaries and enforcing them, and no one should make you feel bad for doing so. There is nothing wrong with having a healthy self-image or valuing your self-worth. That's what we all should have. Everyone wants to feel good about themselves. In fact, many successful people do have positive egos. They believe in themselves and they are driven to succeed and overcome obstacles. The challenge is when these positives turn into harmful, delusional thinking that having a big ego turns negative. Something to think about. See you soon. Have an excellent day. Thank you.